Welcome back to The Average Kitchen. Jamie here, and today we're going to review the Ninja Creami Deluxe. If you're a fan of the channel, you'll actually know that we've reviewed two Ninja Creamis so far, the Ninja Creami Breeze and the original Ninja Creami. So this is the Ninja Creami Deluxe. It's the third installment of that. So I'm going to do 4 tests for you today, which I'm limited on tests because the actual unit only comes with 2 pint jars, and we actually bought 2 additional ones so we could actually do more tests than just the 2. But I got 4 coming today. We got ice cream, we got a slushie, we have Italian ice, and a creamicino. First thing we're gonna do is ice cream. So the way the creamies work, if you're not familiar, is that you, for example, Mark, if you get a shot of that. So this is the recipe you have to follow. So basically, you mix in a bunch of ingredients into the pint jars, whatever it may be, in this case, ice cream. Mix it all together, which I did a day or 2 ago. You have to let it freeze for 24 hours, and then that becomes your ice cream, and then the machine mixes it all up and turns it into ice cream rather than this block of ice that it is right now. So the way this works is you have, I don't even know what to call this, the reservoir, outer canister, reservoir, whatever it is. That goes in like that. Now on the top, and I'll actually take this out, there's they call this a paddle, which is a strange word for it, but it's not really a blade, like it's not sharp. I guess there's a couple of little sharp spots, but it's not like super sharp. But they call that the paddle. That just installs in this lid. So there's the latch for the paddle. You just hold that open, drop it in, and that's it. So we're gonna put this on there, that locks into place, like that. The unit clicks in there, but then to install it, you gotta turn it, so it clicks in like that. Now, with the functionality, with the buttons, this is something different on the Deluxe where you can choose if it says top, full, or bottom. At first I thought that meant, do you wanna mix the top? Do you wanna mix the bottom? Or do you wanna mix the full thing? But I've come to learn what it actually means is, if you have a full pint, then you can choose to just mix the top or the full. You would only use the bottom if you have eaten half of this, or you only made half a recipe, and you actually are just mixing the bottom. So you can't choose bottom if you have a full pint, if that makes any sense. In this case, we're gonna choose full, and we're on ice cream. Oh, it's a dial. Okay, I thought it was a button. So it's a dial, so we're going ice cream there. Oh, it tells you the minutes, interesting. So it's 2 minutes. And we'll talk about the mix-in and the respin as we go. But for now, I assume maybe I hit this to start. Oh. I assume that took 2 minutes because it said there's a 2-minute timer. So to unlock it, there's a button way over here. You gotta hit this button, take it down, and then another button here to unlock the lid, like that. Oh. So this is usually what it looks like after the first program. And like I said, we're gonna talk about the mix-ins and the respins as we go. But basically, I'm gonna do mix-ins. I happen to have a bunch of chocolate chips here, which I'm about to mix in. And I'll show you how that goes. What the respin is if we were just doing ice cream and not doing mix-ins, because you can't use the respin button with mix-ins, but the respin button will basically make your ice cream creamier. That's the idea. So it'll mix it again and make it a little softer, a little creamier. In this case, for the mix-ins, ooh, it's like powder. So we'll make a little hole all the way to the bottom here. Because of our experience with previous creamies, we know that their instructions are correct, where you just basically make a big hole down to the bottom if you can, and you put in your mix-ins. In this case, it calls for 1/3 cup of mix-ins. I think I have more than that, but so we got our hole there, Mark. It's not pretty, but it's a hole. So we're gonna pour as much of this that'll fit as we can. Oh, okay. Now it's as simple as putting the lid back on, lock her in, onto the unit, lock it in. Now, again, I'm gonna choose full. It says to put it Okay, full. Back on the program that you use, so in this case, ice cream. And now we're gonna hit mix in. All right, so our 2 minutes are up again. So let's check out what we have. I keep forgetting this button's way over here. Unlock the lid. Oh. Okay, never had that problem before, but I mean, it looks fantastic. Mark, if you can get a shot of that.
Fantastic.
It looks fantastic. So, there may be, well, let me say a couple things. We're gonna have a special guest taste tester in a second here, but I do have to comment. Mark, as you may know, if you're a big fan of The Average Kitchen, is a little soft. He's a little soft. His tummy doesn't like the lactose. So, in this particular recipe, I replaced the whole milk with oat milk. I have lactose-free cream cheese and heavy cream, which apparently is lactose friendly for those who are lactose intolerant. So, if I may have my taste tester. Here he comes, triumphantly, please. Ooh, big scoop. Maybe too big. Okay, maybe not the best mix-in choice, but.
The overall taste of the ice cream.
Oh, okay. I think that assessment is accurate. I wouldn't do chocolate chips again, it's a little tough. Maybe if the machine broke them up into pieces, it would be better, but they're not broken up, they're still whole. But they're mixed in, I mean, it looks like a Dairy Queen Blizzard, if anybody knows what that is. It's totally mixed in. The flavor of the ice cream, fantastic, sweet. I put vanilla extract as the flavoring, so it's like vanilla ice cream. All right, so let me get this cleaned up. I gotta clean the outer bowl and the lid. And then next up is a slushie. All right, so we're all cleaned up, ready for the slushie. You'll see, I'll talk about this in a minute. But first wanted to show you, so this pint jar is from the Ninja Creami Breeze. Now this one is from this unit, the Ninja Creami Deluxe. So you can see, I'd have to look up the ounce difference, but you can see it's obviously larger. So if you're looking to make bigger pints of ice cream or pint plus ice creams, maybe the Deluxe is for you, but I'm gonna hold off comparing the Deluxe to the Breeze in this video because there might be something cooking for a little comparison, which when we shoot it will be linked in the description below. But just something to think about. So here we have slushie. Now, this is supposed to be a fruit punch slushie, and it includes fruit punch powder or drink crystals. I couldn't find fruit punch. I did find Tang, and I'm sure everybody out there knows Tang. So there's Tang powder and water in here. Now the difference with this, with the slushie, is that you have to pour water prior to mixing up to the what's called drinkable pour-in line, which Mark, you can see there. So I'm gonna do that now. Oh, a little drip.
A little more.
All right, so with the water in there, put that, same as everything else, put it in the outer bowl, lay it on. Lock it in, so this time, again, we're gonna choose full, and we're gonna go over to slushie. Now, Mark, if you can see there, you have one side that says scoopable, and you have the other side that says drinkable. So in theory, I guess, this should be drinkable. We're about to find out. So you can see 5 minutes on the counter now, so this will be very interesting to see what happens. I assume it'll go up and down a couple times, but we're about to find out. All right, so 5 minutes is up. Let's see what we got. Oh, wow. I mean, it looks like a slushie, for sure. That's a slushie.
Is it pourable or no?
I would not say it's pourable. Well, there's two things going on here. One, the flavor, which is not the machine's fault, just okay for me. But, I mean, it's certainly slushy. There's no question about that. So I would call that a successful slushie. I wouldn't say it's drinkable. Like you can see, it's more like icy than drinkable, but very close to slushy texture. So we'll move on to the next one. All right, so the next thing we're gonna do is, like I said, Italian, well, I don't know if I said it, but Italian ice. It's gonna be lemonade flavor, but I just want to show you the book that came with the with the creamy. It's super high quality. All these recipes are out of the book. I might have tweaked it a little bit, like the last one, tang instead of fruit punch, but you can see like there's the Italian ice lemonade. So I'm just following that.
Now that picture looks like ice cream.
It does. They say it's Italian ice. We're gonna find out. So there it is. Italian ice up to the line. We'll put the lid on, onto the unit. Now, again, we're gonna go full. We're gonna go over to Italian ice right there. 5 minutes again, which is interesting. And we're gonna start. All right, so we just finished the 5-minute cycle for the Italian ice. Now, I don't think I've ever had what you might call authentic Italian ice in my life. Maybe, not that I can remember. Mark, have you?
I have been to Italy 3 times, 4 times, and I've never had Italian ice.
Okay, well, this is our first crack at it then. I don't know if you call this authentic, but we'll see. And this is what we thought would happen. So you can see that the top, I don't know if you can kind of see that on camera, Mark, but pretty powdery, the Italian ice. So that's okay. Ninja's prepared for that. So what they say is that you put it back on, and this is the respin I mentioned earlier. So we're gonna put that back on, lock it in, full again. So now, what we do, put it back on Italian ice, on the program, or whatever program it is that you use in the first place. But I think it can only go on scoopable programs, not drinkable. This is a scoopable one. You put it back on the same program and you hit respin. I guess it takes another 5 minutes, but we'll see you at the end of that.
2 minutes.
2 minutes. 2 minutes is up. Now, I did just try the little bit that was on my spoon off camera there, and she's tart. Now it's lemonade drink mix, and I was just telling Mark that it called for half a cup of this powder, drink powder, and I bought like a package of it, and it wasn't even a half cup. It was like still a little bit left. So I'm surprised at how strong this flavor is, but so it's a little, I don't know, that's still a little powdery. Mark, can I get a?
Yeah, it's powdery. Take a good sized scoop though, Jamie.
But should we respin it again is the question, or are we going with the powder?
That's up to you.
Oh, look at this little scoop. Well, it's not for everybody, as it turns out.
I'll try it.
Oh,
That's brutal.
Molto bene. I mean, you gotta love lemon.
You gotta love lemon. So, again, I'm not an Italian ice expert by any means. It gets a little thicker as you go, but it's certainly powdery. I'm gonna say, even if I respun it again, I don't even know Italian ice, but it spun it. I think we're gonna skip the respin. So all this is literally water and that flavored powder that I talked about. There's no other ingredients. So I guess this is what you get. And I don't even know what the machine does differently between the different programs other than the time. I mean, it spins the paddle all the way down and all the way up, however long the program is set for. But that's one respin, still a bit powdery. It is better than the first time, so the more you respin it, the less powdery and the more creamy it's gonna get. And we know that from experience, so I'm confident that would happen here. But for now, let's move on to the last thing. All right, so the next thing we're gonna jump into, like I said at the beginning, a word I've never said or heard before, Creamicino. So it's gonna be the Creamicino program. Now what I've chosen, there's a bunch of different ones. For example, frozen Irish coffee, frozen chai latte, Creamicino itself. I chose frozen hot chocolate because I'm a hot chocolate kind of guy. So with this one, see there, Mark? So you can see that there's less in this pint than the last one. That's because much like the Slushie, we have to add up to the drinkable fill line some milk. So we're gonna use almond milk because again, Mark's a little touchy in the tummy.
Soft.
Soft, some say. So that goes into our outer bowl as always.
This looks like it could be pretty good.
I have high hopes for this. I think it's gonna taste good. So in terms of ingredients, there is a half cup of hot chocolate, Tim Hortons hot chocolate powder mix for you Canadians out there, or Northern Americans. And we have a cup and 3/4 of, what did I say, oat milk or cashew milk? I can't remember which. Cashew maybe, or oat. Anyway, the good thing about these recipes in particular, actually, I should mention, I did mention the lines here. So the way it worked, I didn't actually have to measure the milk, because once the powder is in, the liquid goes all the way up to the freeze fill line. So it's already marked out for you, so you don't even have to measure it. You just pour the milk in to that line. And then the second step, which I just did obviously, is fill it all the way up to the drinkable line. So pretty simple that way. So lid on we go, lock it in. Go on here, full again. And we're gonna go over to, where am I? Creamicino. 5 minutes again, and we'll start that. All right, so the 5 minutes is up, so let's check out our frozen hot chocolate. Now, it did say that if it's not to your desired, if it's not to your desired, sippability, you can add some more milk and respin it, which we may do, but this is very interesting.
Wow.
That is very interesting. I'm gonna give it a respin. I don't think you can drink that, so I'm gonna give it a respin.
Who wants to drink that when you can eat it?
But we're gonna eat it. It's not blowing my socks off like I expected, but I mean, especially considering the Italian ice we just tried, it's fantastic. So I'm gonna add a little bit more milk. It says 2 to 4 tablespoons, so we'll just sort of eyeball that. And then lid back on. Lock it in. So we're full, we're at Creamicino, and we're going to respin. 2 minutes. So the 2 minutes is up. It's something point Mark brought up, which I forgot to mention earlier, and it would probably mostly apply to the ice cream, or at least any of these scoopable things, is that, oh boy, that looks good, is that if you happen to not eat your whole pint, because it's a pretty big pint jar, as we talked about, all you have to do to save it is use a spoon and just flatten out whatever's left. You can throw it back in the freezer, and then the next day, the next week, whatever, you can take it out again. All you have to do is put it back on the machine to the same program that it is. So say ice cream, put it on ice cream and hit respin, and then you're back in the game. So it's good that way. It has the lids, like you saw earlier. You can just store it like that, so pretty handy. Anyway, back to the frozen hot chocolate though. I don't know how you can drink that. I agree. It's more of a scoopable at this point. So you can see I even went to the trouble of bringing out the Tim Hortons mugs, the Canadian mugs. So instead of drinking the frozen hot chocolate, we're just gonna eat it, because it's not very sippable at this point. What do you think?
Definitely tastes like hot chocolate.
Tastes like frozen hot chocolate. Mark, please?
Yep, thank you. Reminds me of a fudgicle.
That is a good comparison, I think.
Thank you.
Now that you say that. Like a very thin, almost melted fudgicle, with the same flavor. Making a mess. This is what you're licking up all over your hand as it's pouring everywhere. So, let me get this all cleaned up, and I'm gonna give you my final thoughts on the Ninja Creami Deluxe. So a couple things I wanted to mention just for interest's sake here is first the size. So I want to give you an idea of how big it is. So height, it's about 6 3/4 inches tall. It's about a foot deep and about 6 3/4 inches wide. So really the issue size-wise is the height. So if you have under cabinet lighting like Mark has, you might have a problem keeping it on your countertop and under that lighting. But some people might store it too, so that's subjective, it's up to you. The weight, I don't know what it weighs. I'd say 5, 6, 7 pounds, maybe something like that. It's not heavy, but it's not like a super light product either. I'm sure there's a big motor in there that's powering all this. Cleaning wise, it's very easy to clean. Like all this stuff, the pints, the lids, the little paddle, the blade there, all that can go in the dishwasher. I just go top rack with it all just to be safe so it doesn't get too hot, particularly with the lids and the pint. You don't want anything funky going on with that, but super easy to clean that way. On our channel, you probably know, because everybody's a big fan, of course, watching this, that we have an average kitchen scoring system where we have 6 different categories. We rank it out of 10 to let you know, kind of quantify what we think about the product. So price point, we paid $249.99 for this US dollars, which in Canada is like 700 or 800, I think, with the exchange rate. So we thought that is slightly high. Now it is the sort of premium creamy. There's 3 different ones. It's the Creami Deluxe, so it's kind of the premium one. And we think the creamy products in general are premium products. So we gave the price point a 7.6 out of 10. Functionality, we thought it functions really well. The buttons, and by the way, all the functions that are on there, we got ice cream, light ice cream, sorbet, gelato, frozen yogurt, Italian ice, milkshake, slushie, frozen drink, and creamicino. So that's 10 functions that this thing does. In terms of pushing the buttons, like the buttons are easy to push. Everything's pretty straightforward. My only, I guess, complaint, functionally wise, is that, now this is, I know, a small complaint, but the fact that you have to do this versus the Creami Breeze, you can check out the video for that below. You literally take your pint, you plug it in, bang, and away you go. So it's like a couple extra steps. By no means is that a deal breaker, but there's something to keep in mind. Functionality, we gave an 8.2. Versatility, I kind of touched on this already, so I'm not going to go on about it, but all the different things you can do with this machine, all those 10 things that I mentioned, that's pretty versatile, certainly the most versatile Creami. So we're giving that an 8.9 out of 10. Cleaning, I talked about that already. We're giving that an 8.6 out of 10, very easy to clean. The size, talked about the size already, we gave that an 8.2, slightly lower, like I said, just given the height of it, and maybe it's a challenge keeping it on your countertop. Overall quality, we said, or we thought it's a typical high quality Ninja product. We're giving that an 8.8 out of 10. We really have no complaints about the quality, so maybe it even should have been higher, but we gave it an 8.8. Overall, that gives it an 8.4 out of 10. Definitely on the higher side, sort of maybe the higher third of scores that we give out. If you watch this channel, you'd know that. So 8.4, pretty good score for this product. If you want to buy this product, the link is going to be in the description below for where you live. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe, like the video. That's the best way to help us if you want to support the channel. And we'll see you in the next one.